If you want your business to still be around a decade from now, printing you millions and millions of dollars every single year in profit, then I want to share with you one of the most important lessons that I've gotten from, having spent the last 3-4 years building up clientacquisition.io and cash collecting over 8 figures, which is something that I would have never dreamed of. Okay. Now, it is important to preface this by saying that the industry that I'm in, most people end up lasting 1 to 2 years. Like the life cycle of coaching, consulting, info agency businesses is like 1 to 2 years. Okay. The people that were teaching me what I should be starting and scaling back in 2021, 2020 are nowhere to be found. And the ones that are still around, it's because they learned this one lesson. This video topic came to me after having a chat earlier today with one of my consulting clients. He's running a high ticket coaching offer, helping videographers essentially scale. He's helping them, refine their offers, build client acquisition infrastructures, at least coaching them through implementing it. And he brought up to me this question where he was like, hey, Serge, I don't know if you do ever think about this, but one of my mentors reached out, he reached out to him and said, hey, I'm shutting down my business. Now, why did he shut down his business? Is because he said that it's become, too complex, too hard, the market is sophisticated and things like that. And he decided to just leave the industry. My client ended up bringing up this story to me because he wanted to ask me what I thought of it. And he was asking me like, hey, do you believe I should switch niches? Because the mentor and him are kind of like in the same niches. They're selling to the same people. And funny enough, I didn't go into answering that question directly. I didn't go into like, hey, I think expanding your niche is probably a better idea, or that you should stick to your current niche. I didn't do none of that, because dealing with sophistication of a market and hardship in business has less to do about the thing itself and more about your perception of the thing. We all hear about this woo-woo stuff about, oh, nothing happens to you, it all happens for you. But in business, you have to be really, really careful about the perception of how you perceive problems, because some of the times a problem isn't a problem. It's just normal for it to occur. The first thing that I went to was not strategy. I first wanted to backtrack a little bit and help him understand cycles of life, cycles in nature. If you never understand that every single thing in life, in the universe, works through seasons, then you will be the most stressed out founder ever. Like, you will be so stressed out running a business that you will literally be like, what's the point of running a fucking business? Business is so hard if you don't learn to control your worldview. So what do I mean by cycles, or in cycles in nature? Let's talk about the life cycle of a human. A human is birthed, then they grow up, then they contribute. How does it work, contribution? Contribute through working, contribute through making babies, right? When you guys are making love, you end up, making babies. That's not, you're contributing, okay? And then you do what? You die. But let's go even after cycle. Let's look at things like plants. Plants, they grow, they die, they decompose, they enrich the soil. Their growth and decay cycle. Everything starts, then ends, then it starts again. It is never a constant. You cannot keep growing forever. It does not work like that. Not in nature, especially not in business. Let me tell you a little bit about cycles in business. There is the innovation cycle. Just like in nature, businesses need to evolve to survive. Companies must continuously innovate, adapt to new technologies, trends, and customer demands, or risk being outpaced by competitors. I'm talking about AI all the time, and people are like, hey Serge, why are you jumping on the AI trend? I'm like, why are you not jumping on the AI trend? Are you delusional? Like, have you not learned anything about business? If you're not adapting to a new platform shift, are you an entrepreneur, or are you like working for someone who's taking care of you? Like, are you still living in your parents' basement? For me, it kills me when they see me kind of like adapting and they're like, oh, I'm just taking advantage of a trend. Of course I am. If you're not, you're crazy, right? Anyway, that's a tangent. But let's go into life cycle of business. Similar to the life cycle of a living organism, businesses go through stages of inception to growth, maturity, and sometimes decline. But if you're a genius, then instead of decline, you go through renewal. By the time that you hit your peak, okay, then you maintain maturity. Instead of declining, you end up being a company like Microsoft. You invest $10 billion in OpenAI, and then you go zoom. You take advantage of the new platform shift, and you add an extra $1 trillion in market cap. That is everything about business. Let me keep going about other cycles, because these cycles are actually pretty sick. Let's talk about cash flow cycle. Just like the nutrients cycles in nature, businesses rely on cash flow cycle. cycles to sustain their operations. Revenue is generated, expenses are incurred, profits or losses are made. This flow must be managed efficiently for the business to survive. Companies that don't manage their cash flow effectively face risks, just like ecosystems that are unbalanced. The customer life cycle. The process of acquiring, engaging, and retaining customers can also be seen as a cycle. Customers go through the stages of awareness, consideration, purchase, and then loyalty. Businesses need to nurture customers through this cycle, provide value to keep them engaged, or they risk losing them as a customer, right? Much like the decay process in nature that leads to new growth or regeneration. Let's look at another one. The product life cycle. Products in business go through stages similar like the life cycle in nature. Introduction, growth, maturity, and then decline. If you were selling Facebook ad in 2016 and you were generating leads for $2 a lead and your clients were happy about the quality of appointments, if you compare it to today, where generating leads is one of the most craziest service that you can generate, because most of the leads don't even remember clicking a button, right? And people are opting in so many times, seeing so many ads that they literally can't even remember what they opted in for and what they didn't, right? So the effectiveness of your product eventually also becomes pretty bad, okay? All these cycles go to one focus. The thing you're doing today will not be the right thing to do tomorrow. And you have to be okay with that, because if you're not, and you keep selling the same thing, you keep branding yourself the same way, then the people in your niche will get tired of you, of your yapping, of your product, of your sales process, and then you will end up thinking that, oh, it's a problem with your business. No, it is not a problem with your business. It is just a cycle. It is normal for people to not want to buy the same thing that they've seen you talk about for the last 50 years. It gets old, right? And you know what's funny? This mentor of my client, this is what I was telling this client. I was like, I'm sure that the same niche that you guys are struggling in, there is someone who's sharing insights on how to leverage AI to blow up on short form content, or sharing AI workflows or, prompts or whatever, or on different editing tools, and they're able to generate so much demand without having to spend any single thing on marketing, on sales, because they're talking about the things that the market wants to hear. But if you guys are still selling the same thing, the same promise, the same workflow, the same processes that are outdated, you cannot blame the market. You can never blame the market, because one thing is for sure, humans always want new things. Humans always want more stuff. So if people don't want your stuff, it's not because the humans have started having desires. Us humans will always have desires all the time. It never ends. I remember when I wanted to make 10K per month, I made 10K per month. I started making 10K per day. I started making $30,000 before waking up and taking my shower. Before 9 a.m. I had made $30,000. And do you know what I still wanted? Well, I wanted to make $100,000 in a day. And even when I do hit $100,000 in cash collected per day, I'm still gonna want to make $1 million in a day. Desire never ends. That's how humans are. So your success level is dependent on your ability to adapt and see what the market wants, figuring out a way to build products, marketing, sales processes, content that speaks exactly to what they want. And you have to kill your old business to survive and sustain in your business, which is really contradictory. It's really weird. But if you do not kill your old self, if you've achieved success, you know this whole thing. The guy who was broke, the girl who was broke in the basement, the me that was working in the basement, going through Sam Oven's course, but not doing anything, has nothing to do with the me that I am today. We're completely different. I had to kill this surge. I am a new character. It works the same way in business. To reach new levels, you have to become a new person. You have to acquire a new identity. And for your business to be around a decade from now, you're going to have to recreate yourself. You're going to have to evolve. You're going to have to evolve. Evolution is the only way to survive in business. And please, if your revenue starts declining, stop trying to think that it's the market. It's not the market. The market is always printing money. The market is always buying shit, useless shit. If you're smart, you're gonna create the shit that they buy. If you're not smart, if you're lazy, if you don't adapt, if you don't end up learning where are the trends, what are the things that the market is buying, and you just keep selling your old offer, like using a VSL funnel or like selling some outdated strategy, and you wonder why you're stuck, then it's your fault and you deserve to go out of business. That's all that it is. It's just a game. You're either going to respect the game or you're going to hate the player. But you can't hate me for wanting to survive. And I wanted to make this video to remind you guys that it's okay to go through moments, seasons of decline. That's fine. Or sustain a certain level. That's totally fine. But what are you doing about it when you start sustaining a level or when it starts declining? It's what you do when you experience that that separates you between, are you going to be the guy that went out of business, or are you going to be the guy or girl who, when things starts dipping off, recreates themselves every time, boom, builds new multiple seven-figure products, and you just thrive forever. And the most beautiful thing that I can wish you is become a creator. Become someone whose livelihood depends on their commitment to always creating. And instead of being someone who's so constrained about the fact that like you're so in such a scarcity world that you can't allow yourself to create. If you are in that space, please get out of that mindset of scarcity where it's like, oh, but I can't create new things. I'm afraid that the market is going to think that I'm confusing them. No. Follow your curiosity. Follow your creativity. Please. You see something that's exciting. You see a new process. You see some inefficiencies and you see a technology that can solve that problem. It's okay. Embrace it. Create it. Release it into the market. Preferably build and release, right? But that's one of the commitments that I've made in my life. I'm not going to be an entrepreneur who's just a slave to my business. No, I'm going to build what I want to build because I'm curious about the things I'm working on, but I will never build a business for the sake of making money. Because when you build a business for the sake of not being broke, you will be inevitably broke because you're not curious. You're not curious about cooking. You just want to cook so you can eat because you want to get fat, okay? But please, guys, play for the love of the game. Stop trying to play so you can just like pay a bill. Like that's really sad. Stop trying to take care of your lifestyle, whatever, right? Downsize, go drive a Mazda, right? If I went broke tomorrow, I would sell that Porsche, that GT3, I would sell it tomorrow because I don't care about the GT3. I can always make more money, right? But I cannot be a slave to my lifestyle or to my business. I have to always be creating from a place of abundance. And that is the key. Always create. And I promise you, you will never struggle in business. But born, grow, contribute, die. Business, inception, growth, maturity, decline and die, or renewal. Are you recreating yourself or are you accepting death? Come see what I have in the AI Masterclass. I'm going to be sharing what we're cooking up. Guys, I'm recreating myself and you guys can see it live. You got to buy a ticket. It's not free because if you're not going to pay for it, then why would you care? But can't wait for you guys to see what we're building when it comes to AI. If you're a coach, agency, consultant, please come and see the AI solutions we're building. Either implement them for yourself, or if you're someone who hasn't built a successful company yet, then come and take advantage of this AI trend and see what it can do for you. Love y'all. Bye-bye.